Hello everyone, can you believe it's the last favorites video for the year of 2011? I feel like this year has gone by so fast, and I just wanted to thank all of you for your continued support and for all the encouragement. So thank you everyone and happy holidays. So today I have quite a few products to show you, a lot of them eyeshadows, so let's get started. When Chanel released these cream eyeshadows called Illusion d'Ombre, and please forgive my French accent, even though I did take French, my accent is not very good. And I believe this one is an 84. This is the silvery gray. And I've used it several times, but it doesn't look like I've used very much at all because I take the product from the same spot. And this one happens to be the most moussey of all of the ones that I own, and I own 4 of them. But this one's my favorite. It looks very silver on your hand, but on the eye it has a very noticeable green tint, which I absolutely adore because I've been wearing it with my Suki palette in number 2, and I pair it with this dark olive green matte shadow, and it looks gorgeous. It's a very simple smoky eye that's still very, very holiday-esque because of the glitters in this Chanel eyeshadow. But I love the combination and they've been working really well for me. Out of all of the ones that I own, this has to be my favorite and the one that I most recommend. Now, more about this Suki palette. As you guys know, Suki is one of the most highly regarded brands on the Japanese makeup market right now, and I can see why. I love their packaging, even though it attracts fingerprints like mad, as I'm sure you just noticed when the light hit it. It does have a generously sized mirror up top, and it actually reminds me a bit of the layout of the Tom Ford eyeshadow quads. These are comparatively around the same price, so $75, and yes, this is a very luxurious product. It is difficult to find, highly exclusive, so yes, the price point reflects that. So obviously not everyone's going to be interested in this, but for those of you who want a luxury product and you're willing to invest in it, this is definitely one of those pieces that I do believe is worth the very exorbitant price point. You get a celery green, a very cool light taupe, this matte olive green that I just raved about, and a matte white. Now, the matte white has a very pink lean to it, so overall this palette is very cool, but it's very, very easy to wear. Now, I did order another one. This one is the number 7 blend color eyeshadow, and this one I wasn't as impressed with. As much as I love the color scheme of peach, a slightly deeper celery green than in number 2 that I just showed you, a shimmery brown, and a really lovely eggplant shade. I think out of all of the colors here, my favorite has to be the peach. I just really love peach eyeshadow because it brightens up my skin without making it more sallow, but I have to say the pigmentation on this one is not quite as good as the number 2. The brown could use a lot more work, and because I was so impressed with the number 2 and I used that one first, I kind of expected the same accent color to be equally as pigmented, but I think maybe the shimmer just reduces the pigmentation. This palette is gorgeous on the eye. I just don't find it to be as worth the money as number 2. And since we're talking about eyeshadow palettes, I guess I'll go ahead into the next duo that's a powder. I purchased this Chantecaille Evening Duo palette because of the gloss goss, and Tali has great makeup taste. And these are genuine Swarovski crystals. It's a really gorgeous palette, completely overpriced, even more expensive than the Suki palettes that I just showed you. It's available at Nordstrom as well as Neiman Marcus and any other counter that sells Chantecaille. But I have to admit, this black right here, this matte black, is the best matte black that I've ever used, and I'm wearing it today. This is my New Year's Eve look if you guys haven't seen that video yet, but I absolutely adore this shade. My matte black, that's my typical standby, is MAC Typographic, but this is so much more pigmented and it has the same smooth qualities with very little fallout. Now, the shade right here is more of an antique pink. I really like it because it's just champagne enough that it doesn't make my eyes look swollen, or it doesn't add too much of a bright highlight such as Pink Freeze by MAC. It's a really refined shimmer and I love this palette. So if you're interested in getting something really luxurious for your mother or just for yourself, you know, as a treat, I highly recommend this. And thank you, Tali, for reviewing that, or else I probably wouldn't have caved. And the last of my eyeshadows is this little Jill Stewart Jelly Eye color. And because everything is called jelly or mousse or something with a really fluffy pastry texture, I didn't really think that this would be a true jelly, but it is. It has the bounce of a real Jell-O cake. And as you can see, it's bouncy, right? So when you press down, the rest of the shadow plumps up. And I wore this color out last night, and all my girlfriends were asking what I was wearing, and I don't blame them because it is really gorgeous. It has that high shimmer content that Jill Stewart is very famous for, but the brown is not too noticeable, so it actually gives you more of a glittery sheen, and it evens out your lid with this slight brown tint. So I highly recommend this. This is number 10, Vintage Decor. And I do think that I will be ordering more of these from YesStyle.com. So YesStyle is pretty cheap when it comes to Jill Stewart products. I have looked for them on other Japanese sites and they're even more expensive. Now for brushes, if you are a vegan or know someone that's a vegan and you don't know what to get them for Christmas, Sigma has just produced their Mr. and Mrs. Bunny collection, which is an all vegan line of brushes. I have this travel set and I do apologize because they are dirty from using them recently. I didn't have time to wash them before I went to New York, and I just got back from New York, so again, I didn't have time to wash them. But they are actually very good. They're made of the same Sigmax fibers that the ever so popular F80 is made out of, but these are less dense, so they're easier to wash and they're less maintenance for everyday use. I actually really do like the synthetic eye brushes, but my favorite actually turned out to be the synthetic face brush. I also do love this synthetic cheek. A lot of them are currently misshapen, out of use, but when you wash them and reshape them flat, they do look really good. So definitely look into getting the Mr. Bunny. The Mrs. Bunny actually comes in a different colorway. Mr. Bunny is black and silver, Mrs. Bunny is pink and blue. Speaking of pink and blue, I have Benefit's Hervana Boxed Powder Blush, and I bought this during the Sephora one-day flash sale. It has this really whimsical pattern, and overall the color is very rosy. Here it is on my ring finger. I actually didn't think that I would like this blush very much when I first opened it because the mauve tones are very strong in this, but it's still actually very rosy on my cheeks, and I adore the new brush that it comes with. As you can see, it's angled, so it makes it much easier for me to apply just a touch right along my cheekbones. Plus, I love the way this smells. It smells fruity, but just a touch floral to balance it out. Highly recommend. Now for eyebrows, because you guys know that I love my Shiseido brow pencil, but I've been using the Shoot Amora recently. A lot of you have been asking, which one do I prefer? What are the differences? So let's start with the Shoot. As you guys know, the Hard 9 pencil is very popular, but it's a very natural looking pencil because the color in the lead only works where you have hair because it has to work with the oils in your natural brow care. But I personally love the color. I actually prefer this color to the Shiseido Natural Black because this is actually darker than my natural brow color. A lot of you guys want me to wear a darker brow color because you think it'll frame my face better, and I used to do that, but I just prefer having a natural brow. The Shiseido, unless you keep it sharpened at a point, not like this, but a really sharp point all the time, and you're very careful with how you apply it, you can easily over apply this. So I don't recommend this for beginners, although I do love the fact that it comes with a brush to smooth out the hairs. So overall, I can't say I prefer one over the other. They're both different brow looks, but if you prefer a less waxy pencil, try the Shoot Amora, which is only available on their website, which I'll link down below. But if you have actually naturally very dark brows that are not brown, then definitely check this one out. If you also have a very light hand and you know you take care of your brow pencils really well, then you can also go with this one. I like both. I can't say which one I prefer, but right now, because this one's newer, I do prefer the Shoe at the moment. Last but not least, I have the skin products. So as you guys know, since I mentioned it, I was in New York this last week and it was very, very windy. Terrible for my skin. I do have very sensitive skin. And I really didn't think it would be that cold or windy at the time, but just in case, I packed my Lancome Genifique Repair Cream. And I've mentioned this before, but I really cannot live without this night cream. It is my ultimate holy grail night cream, and I have tried more expensive skincare such as La Mer. And as much as I love La Mer, nothing really sinks into my skin as well as this Lancome Genifique Repair. And without this, my skin would have been so dry and completely flaky. It would have been exponentially worse without this. So if you're interested in a night cream and you want something that's gonna plump up your skin and really hydrate it, definitely check this one out. Now for my Bath & Body Works body creams. I generally never wear Bath & Body Works skin stuff. I use $3 Vaseline aloe lotion from the drugstore, and that works just fine for me. I'm not particular about my scents or anything, so spending money on stuff like this is more of luxury. Yes, I see the irony in the fact that I do spend lots on makeup, but not on stuff like this, but that's just my personal preference. You know, different strokes for different folks. Everyone has a weakness, and makeup's my weakness. Body stuff, not so much. But because I was purchasing a few items for my family and for my Christmas giveaway, I decided to pick myself up these two. But Pink Sugar Plum is definitely the winner between the two. It has a really soft, sugary, and slightly floral scent. I had bronchopneumonia as a child and lost most of my sense of smell, but because I can smell this one and I do like it, I do highly recommend it. Scent description on the Pink Sugar Plum is sugared plum, sparkling tangerine, and vanilla musk. But you don't smell the musk that much, and I'm not a fan of it, so really, this is good stuff. Next is Winter Candy Apple, and I love candied apples, so I had to smell this. And I loved it at first sniff, but when I apply this to my body and it dries down, all you can smell is the overwhelming scent of cinnamon. So the candied apple scent is only initially on the contact with the skin, so I don't recommend this. The crisp apple, candied orange, and rich cinnamon spice sounds like a perfect combination, but on the skin, the rich cinnamon just overwhelms everything. So I can't highly recommend this. So this is my definite miss for the month. But Pink Sugar Plum, definitely get this before it sells out. I think I'm gonna go back and pick up one for me and one for my best friend. She really does like this too. And my best friend, she's very particular about many things. And for her to be able to point something out and say, I like that, is a big deal. And that's the end of my favorites video this month. I hope you guys wrap up a very happy holiday season, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye.